Hey guys, welcome back. Here we are with another review. Today I'm looking at New King by Jason Derulo. Overall, I felt this was an okay album. Sure, there's tracks I love, but I feel there's a few tracks that I feel are meh, and some that I'm not the biggest fan of. Looking at the track list, sure, there's going to be some forgettable tracks on here, as there's 27 tracks on this album. I feel this has been a common theme within recent years, where an artist releases an album with like 20 plus tracks, or they release an album with like 10, maybe 12 tracks or less. And yeah, it seems like there's no really like in between anymore. And I feel like a lot of these albums that do end up getting like 20 some odd tracks on them, I feel like a lot of them anymore are for, streaming numbers, just to try and get like streams and whatever else. But yeah, anyways, let's go ahead and hop right into it. This is his fifth studio album that was released on February 16th, 2024. This was his first album of original material in 9 years, with his previous album, Everything Is For, being released in 2015. The album has a runtime of about 1 hour and 18 minutes and contains one single, being Spicy Margarita with Michael Bublé. The album serves as a follow-up to his EP, Two Sides, Side 1. Features and collaborators include Michael Bublé, Youngboy Never Broke Again, Gucci Mane, Quavo, Lay Banks, Teja, Nicki Minaj, Ty Dolla $ign, French Montana, Am Levine, Dido, Haitian Kampa, Robinson, Mika Ben, David Guetta, Megan Trainor, Alexandra Shipp, and Nuka. I feel this album overall looks more into the quantity of the tracks as opposed to the quality of the tracks. I feel there's a fair amount of tracks that could have been better off if they took the time to focus and just like revise them to be what Jason was like originally intending that track to be, or those tracks to be. Another thing is that some of these tracks are years old, dating back to being released in 2017. Getting some older tracks on this album, which I honestly wasn't like the biggest fan of. I feel with the album being released, like 7 years later, I feel there really wasn't such a need for some of these older tracks being on this album, like Swallow featuring Nicki Minaj and Ty Dolla $ign, Tiptoe featuring French Montana, and Lifestyle featuring Adam Levine. Personally, I feel the focus should have been more on newer tracks and making sure, they're like tracks, like something that everyone could enjoy. And yeah, going back to the huge track list, I feel like some of these songs could have been like more or less songs that could have been on the deluxe edition of the album if there ever was going to be one. And honestly, I'm just kind of like choose best like maybe 15 tracks, go with those, release that, work on the remaining tracks if you want to release any more for a deluxe edition or the next studio album. So yeah, there is that. Now, let's go ahead and hop into the tracks. We start the album off with the title track. I thought this was an alright track. To me, it definitely feels like a demo to something, as it's only a minute and a half in length. I feel it could have been worked on a little more. I feel Spicy Margarita has to be one of the worst tracks on the album. Sure, I do love the instrumental on here, but I feel the lyrics seem to be such a waste for the track. Like, there's nothing really like appealing about the lyrics on here. I thought Michael Bublé had decent vocals, but again, I honestly could care less about the lyrics on this track. I feel it essentially compares them to being, something you can't resist. I thought Max Love was an alright track. Young Boy Never Broke Again is on this track, and I felt he wasn't too bad. I felt You and I was one of the tracks I actually enjoyed on this album. For sure, it is a slower song, but I feel it's such a great song. I feel you can hear his emotion and his voice throughout this track. I feel the track is about missing someone and wanting them to be there. I didn't mind Pav or point of view, as that's the first thing that pops into mind when I see that acronym. Sure, it may not seem the best at times, but I do feel there are some decent moments on this track. I thought Last Night wasn't too bad. Quavo and Gucci Mane hop on this track, which I felt both of them were decent. This seems to be one of the tracks I felt should have been a little bit longer. Uh, I I just feel like both Quavo and Gucci Mane had decent verses. Just wish they were on the track a little bit longer. I felt Proximity wasn't too bad of a track. I thought his vocals were decent on here. I thought Shelby Baby was an okay track. I probably butchered that title track, and I'm sure someone will probably let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, anyways, I don't really feel there's much, if anything, to me that stands out on this track. Slow Low, I thought was an okay track. I didn't really find much appealing about the track. It seemed like the track kept going back and forth between, slow and fast paced tempos. After all these years, I feel Swallow is still an alright track. Nicki Minaj and Ty Dolla $ign hop on this track. I didn't really feel they were too terrible on this track, but I do feel the both of them have had better tracks in the past, or and even better features on tracks in the past. But I definitely wouldn't say this wasn't like one of the worst tracks the both of them have ever been on. I thought Tiptoe was alright. I thought French Montana was an okay feature to have on the track, but I felt someone else could have been better as a feature. I thought Lifestyle was an okay track. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this track also appeared on Maroon 5's last album, Jory, which was released back in 2021. I think it might have been a bonus track on that album. But anyways, aside from that, I honestly didn't really care for this track. I just kind of thought it was like bland and generic. And honestly, looking at that point in time from Maroon 5 and Levine, I feel that whole era, being early 2020s, late 2010s. I honestly wasn't the biggest fan of Maroon 5, and especially with like M's vocals being like so washed out, generic, not sounding like the best, and I really don't know like what else I could say about this track to make it sound like so appealing to me. When love sucks. What else sucks? This fucking track. What could go wrong when you sample such a great song and decide to speed up the sample? Well, let me tell you, as much as I love Thank You by Dido, I don't think this was such a great spot for that sample, and I don't really think it was like that great of a use of a sample either. And towards the end of the song, we get Jason Derulo actually, sing the sample himself, and which I honestly don't even think was really needed for this track. And yeah, to be honest, I uh, just didn't really care for this track. I didn't really feel it had such a great fit at all on this album, and yeah, again with the sample, I didn't really think it was like the best use of it. So yeah, what else can I say? I thought Save the Last Dance was another track I actually enjoyed on this album. For sure, it is another slower track, but I love the sound. The track seems to be about going after the one you care for and being for them. No matter what, when the party's over, you'll be there for them for whatever they need, even for one more dance. I thought Down was an okay track. I feel this is one of David Guetta's better tracks in recent years, but at the same time, I feel it seems just so generic and some sort of way with rises and drops, and especially with like some of the tracks he's been giving us within the past couple of years, which a lot of them I haven't really been like the biggest fan of. I thought Underwater wasn't bad. I thought it seemed decent, as it is more of a piano led track. I felt Alexandra Ship wasn't too bad on here. I'll finish us off with Acapulco. I thought this was an okay track to finish off the album. Definitely not one of the best tracks to finish off the album, to be honest. My favorite tracks are You and I, Pav, Last Night with Quavo and Gucci Mane, Proximity, Save the Last Dance, and Underwater with Alexandra Ship. Today, I'll be giving this album a 2.5 out of 5. And again, to be honest, I feel this album should have consisted of like the best 10 to 15 tracks and save the rest for a potential deluxe edition. So the tracks that didn't make the final cut could have been worked on a little more and had put more like thought and time into them. So yeah, there's that. anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know this is a longer video for sure, but I feel like, when you get like an album like this or do an album like this, I feel like there's a little bit more to try and talk about in some shape or form, especially with like how many tracks there are. And again, a lot of this is also opinionated, so it's like up to me what I even want to talk about in the first place, like what's mentioned, what tracks to talk about, my thoughts, and whoever else. But yeah, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. As usual, feel free to leave your thoughts down below in the comments. And next week, I'll be looking at This Is Me Now by Jennifer Lopez.